If you're someone who's tired of making the same excuses that keep you stuck at the same weight, this week's results video is the reality check that you didn't know you needed. Because today, I'm sharing why losing less than a pound this week is actually a huge stride in losing my last 10 pounds fat loss goal. And if you're someone who throws in the towel every time the scale doesn't drop 2 or 3 pounds in a week, then you need to prepare yourself to just stay stuck right where you are. Because this week taught me something that every woman who's trying to lose weight after 40 needs to understand. Progress isn't about making the easy choice. It's about making the smart choice, even when the smart choice feels harder in the moment. Before we talk about what realistic fat loss results look like after 40, first let's talk about how this week looked in my house. My husband's been traveling for work these past few weeks, which in the past has been my golden ticket to order takeout every night. Because when you've got picky kids who want different meals anyway, it's easier to just order what they want and call it a day. Plus, cooking for just myself and 2 kids who complain about everything I make feels like a complete waste of time and energy. And here's the thing, I could have easily justified it by saying, I'm stressed, I'm doing everything alone, the kids are happy, and I deserve a break. And all of those things are true. But here's what's also true. If I want to stay on track with losing my last 10 pounds, I can't keep making the easy choice. Especially when the easy choice doesn't align with my goals. Because here's what most women don't realize about eating out. Even when you think you're making the healthy choice, most restaurant meals are calorie bombs that are waiting to sabotage your progress. That healthy grilled chicken salad you ordered instead of a burger, that's a solid 1,000 calories once you add up all of the dressing, the cheese, and the nuts that they pile on. The chicken and veggie entree that you think is super clean, it's cooked in butter and oil that adds an extra 300 calories that you never saw coming. Plus, all of that extra sodium leads to water retention that can mask fat loss for days. So even if you stay within your calories, the scale jumps up and you think you're not making progress, even if you are. Which is a lesson I've learned the hard way too many times to count, and a lesson I'm still learning as I go. Because even this past Saturday, I chose the cowboy burger with fried onion strings and fries instead of something lighter since we were at a new restaurant and it's just what sounded good. Want to know what didn't sound so good? The 1.6 pound jump my scale made overnight. So this week, instead of taking the easy route, I made the smart choice and cooked at home instead of ordering out while my husband was away. Even though that meant eating the same high protein beef nachos 3 nights in a row because that's what's easy and it's a meal I enjoy. Was it still exciting by night 3? No. Was it Instagram worthy? Well, maybe a little, because who else eats nachos 3 times a week and still loses weight? But also, no one really wants to see my beef nachos posted 3 nights in a row, so I guess not. But was it the choice that actually aligns with my goals? Absolutely. And it was the choice that pushed my weekly scale trend in the right direction instead of spending another week frustrated that all of my hard work was getting me nowhere. And this is where most women get it wrong. They think sustainable fat loss means every meal has to be perfect, every choice has to be exciting, and every day has to feel effortless. But that's not how real life works. Real life is messy, and it's sometimes boring. Real life is your husband traveling while you're juggling everything alone with kids who don't want anything you cook. The difference between women who succeed long term and women who stay stuck is this. Successful women have learned that they have to make the smart choice even when it's not the easy choice. They've learned that temporary discomfort leads to permanent results, while temporary comfort only leads to permanent frustration. I used to be the queen of easy choices, ordering takeout because cooking's hard, skipping workouts because I'm too tired, eating whatever's convenient because meal planning takes too much time. And you know what all of those easy choices got me? 50 pounds overweight and completely frustrated with my lack of results. But once I started choosing smart over easy, that's when everything finally changed. So let's talk about the results that all of these smart choices actually produced this week. I averaged 2147 calories a day, which is higher than my normal goal of 2,000 calories. So it's definitely something I need to work on and rein in this week if I want to keep getting results. Which is exactly why I track these things, to analyze and tweak along the way so that I do keep getting results. goals. But the good news is I still made improvements, which shows that not every week has to be perfect. You just have to keep analyzing, keep assessing, and keep going. My movement dropped a bit with me averaging 11,876 steps a day, which is right on par for my typical daily movement. So if you're not there yet with your step count, go based on where you are, not where I am. And also realize that I move that much because I prefer to eat in a higher calorie range while still losing weight. If you haven't figured out a way to move that much, you can still get results, you just have to eat less. This week, I also completed 4 20-minute sit cardio sessions, plus I strength trained for 20 minutes a day, 6 days this week. And all of these smart choices led to me losing another 0.91 pounds, bringing me to just under the halfway point of my total fat loss goal, losing 4.95 pounds in 5 weeks. Now, most women would look at these numbers and throw their hands up in disgust while thinking, not even a full pound this week? And I only lost 5 pounds in 5 freaking weeks? What's the point? But smart women know that losing 0.91 pounds in a week and 5 pounds in 5 weeks is actually fantastic progress. Especially when you understand that I'm getting stronger in my lifts every week, which means that 0.91 pounds is pure fat loss, not muscle loss. And to be honest, it's a much faster pace than I was losing when I was on my original path to losing 50 pounds. Because there were some months that I only lost 2 or 3 pounds for the entire month. So the slow progress that leaves other women disgusted actually makes me feel like a rock star. But only because I made the mindset shifts that are necessary to understand this slow and steady pace is how I will actually stay at my goal once I get there without struggling. And if you want long-term results that actually stick, losing 5 pounds of fat in 5 weeks is something that needs to be celebrated. Let me put this in perspective with some long-term thinking instead of the short-sighted trap that most dieters fall into. If I lose 0.91 pounds every week for the next 11 weeks, that's exactly 10 pounds, which is what my goal is. And if I kept up that pace for an entire year, that's close to 50 pounds of fat that I now have a much lower chance of ever regaining, because this time I'm building habits that are actually sustainable instead of rushing with extreme diet strategies that make me feel like crap in order to lose those 50 pounds in under 5 or 6 months, only to regain it all back by this time next year. Since I'm making smart choices instead of extreme ones, these results are sustainable. And this time, I'm not white-knuckling my way through some miserable diet that I'll eventually just rebel against. That's the reason I'm building these habits that I can maintain forever. I'm proving to myself that I can make smart choices, even when life gets messy. And I'm showing my kids what it looks like to stick to your goals, even when it's not convenient, no matter how much they beg for Pizza Hut. Because someday they'll thank me, right? But even if they never do, making the smart choice now is worth so much more than some quick 3-pound loss that I'll just gain right back the following week after falling back into my old habits. So here's what I want you to understand. Every day, you're faced with similar choices as I was faced with this week. You can make the easy choice where you order takeout, skip your workout, eat whatever's convenient, and make excuses about why this week doesn't count. Or you can make the smart choice, like cooking at home, even when it's not exciting, moving your body, even when you're tired, and sticking to your plan, even when life gets messy. Even though the easy choice feels good in the moment, it's what keeps you stuck long term. And yes, usually the smart choice feels harder, but making hard choices is what gets you the results that you want. And here's the real truth that nobody wants to hear. You can't have both. You can't keep making easy choices and expect to get the results that come from the smart ones. So what will your next smart choice be? Maybe it's meal prepping this weekend instead of winging it. Maybe it's going for a walk instead of scrolling your phone. Maybe it's signing up for personal coaching so you finally have a solid way of staying accountable to your goals. But even if you only lose 1 pound a week like me, I promise you, this slower fat loss approach is so much faster than constantly starting from scratch. Whatever it is, I want you to remember this. Every smart choice you make is a vote for the person that you want to become, which also means that every easy choice you make is a vote for staying stuck right where you are. And if you're happy with where you are, that's completely fine. But I don't think that you'd make it this far into this video if you are happy with where you are. So if you're frustrated and ready for different results, you have to make different choices. And remember, the scale might not always reflect your smart choices immediately, because you will still have weeks where you lose less than a pound, or maybe weeks where the scale doesn't move at all. But if you keep making smart choices consistently, your results will come, because smart choices compound over time, just like the easy choices do, but in the wrong direction. So tell me in the comments, what's one smart choice that you'll make this week instead of an easy choice? And if you are ready to get out of yo-yo diets for good and finally make this smart choice an easier choice, I'll add the link to my personal coaching questionnaire in the comments. That way we can figure out together if we're a good fit to work together, and you can finally have someone in your corner holding you accountable to your fat loss goals. Before I sign off, I want to remind you that you don't need perfect circumstances to make progress. You just need to consistently choose smart over easy. And if you want more clarification about what that means, watch this video next.